Hey there you guys, in today's video I kind of just want to talk a little bit more about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Full disclaimer, this isn't going to be like an analytical video. I'm not going to be speculating on anything like that. I'm more going to just be talking about my personal story with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and what it really means to me when this game released and when I picked it up my first time playing it. So if you're into that kind of stuff, stick around for the video. If you're not, thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor, you guys like the video on your way out. Please consider subscribing and checking out some of our other videos if you're interested. With that, let's get into this video. So obviously everyone knows The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild released 2017 alongside the Nintendo Switch. Unlike a lot of people, I did not pick up the Nintendo Switch on day one. I did not pick up The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So in October 2016 was the birth of my son. And around 2017, I wasn't really playing a whole lot of video games. I had a PS4 and it kind of just collected dust and was like the Netflix machine for us. But for that entire year, I rarely played any video games. I know I stepped in and out of some games, but I really was just more focused on like my personal life, you know, raising my son, being a good husband to my wife, advancing in myself in my career. I was really just focused on me a lot. And it wasn't until 2018 when me and my wife decided that we wanted to get a video game console for us as a family. When we talked about it a little bit further, we had the PS4, but there wasn't a game on the PS4 that was really like that we all wanted to play together. So we went out and we purchased the Nintendo Switch, and on the Nintendo Switch we bought obviously a lot of multiplayer games that we could all play together. So in 2018, when we picked up the console, we picked up a bunch of multiplayer games that I thought we would enjoy playing as a family. So we picked up Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. We picked up Super Mario Party. We picked up Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Things that I thought that we would enjoy playing together. It kind of turns out that because I had so much experience playing video games, my wife hadn't really been playing as much video games at that time. The huge skill gap between us was kind of making it challenging to play some multiplayer games together. So then that's when we figured it'd be best if we kind of just pick out some single players that we can play separately. That way we just get some more use out of the Nintendo Switch. So we went to the store and I told my wife pretty much just look around, find a game that looks interesting to her, and then we will kind of try that game out. And then that's when she pretty much gravitated towards The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, prior to Breath of the Wild, I had played a good amount of Zelda games before, so I played NES, I played them on Super Nintendo. I loved Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the N64. But pretty much after the Nintendo 64 era, I didn't really play a whole lot of Legend of Zelda games, so I never owned a GameCube. I never owned a Wii, but my friend had a Wii, and again, we never picked up Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. So this was the first official Legend of Zelda game that I was buying with my own money, pretty much. And I wasn't really too hyped about it, to be honest. But for whatever reason, my wife was just very excited to get into the Legend of Zelda series, so that was the game that she went with. I, on the other hand, went for something that I was really familiar with, something that I was really hyped for. I picked up Super Mario Odyssey. Mario is a franchise that like I just grew up playing since I was a little kid. It's probably one of my first games that I've ever played, and I just have so much core memories with Mario. And I always kind of gravitated to Mario games more than I gravitated towards Legend of Zelda games. So when I played Super Mario Odyssey, it didn't really connect to me as much as I really hoped it did. I still liked the game and I understood it was a very fun game and it was colorful. I just wasn't getting the same feeling that I was when I played like Super Mario 64 or even Super Mario Galaxy, which I had blast playing those games. So it wasn't a letdown because they still were good games. It just didn't fulfill the void I needed a game to. Now, after I eventually ended up putting the game down, I ended up giving Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild a chance because, again, I did love Ocarina of Time. I did love Majora's Mask back in the day. Figured I'd still end up enjoying Breath of the Wild at least as much as I enjoyed Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, hopefully. So when I immediately started playing the game, I was just so taken back by the complete difference this game is from anything I've ever experienced, not only from The Legend of Zelda, but from honestly any other game I had played before. I was never really big into the whole open world style games, but The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did it in such a seamless way where you didn't really feel so much as you're in this open world and you got to try to figure out where the objective is, more so that you can just make the objective whatever you want. And when you like first boot up the game and you see in the distance you want to go to a tower or a mountain or whatever landscape you see that you want to go to, and you just always end up getting distracted on your way there. I feel like the open-endedness to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild really complemented the Switch like portable go and play wherever you want to go kind of nature of everything, and that really fitted in really well to my very busy lifestyle at the time because I was working a full-time job, sometimes even more than full-time, with working a lot of overtime, and just spending time with my son. I never really had a whole lot of time to just sit on the couch, sit in front of a TV and play a game for hours, right? So the Breath of the Wild being so portable, and just like the whole like gameplay structure of being able to pick it up whenever you want and just kind of go wherever you want, really just was such a relief for me to be able to play games again. And this game, for the next like 2 years after I picked it up, so from 2018 to 2020, this was just like my favorite game to just go in and out of and just have a blast playing. So just my connection to Breath of the Wild, for me, whenever I look back to it, is just such an interesting one, because if I was to look at all the Legend of Zelda games I ever played, this probably isn't my favorite game, just because I still like Ocarina of Time more and I still like Majora's Mask more, if I'm being honest with myself. But this is probably the most important game that I've played in a long time. And I say that because without the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, without the Nintendo Switch, without the gameplay structure of just being able to pick it up whenever I want and play whenever I want, whether it be like 10 minutes or an hour playtime, pretty much whenever I can get it in, was just such a re-entry point for me to get back into the thing I love to do, and that's play video games. And I honestly don't know if any other game would have been able to do that. After I was eventually done with Breath of the Wild, and it was time for me to get another game, and then I just found myself hooked onto everything. I ended up revisiting Super Mario Odyssey and loving it now, because I feel like I had finally like filled that void that I needed, and it was really just time. Like, I needed a game that fit in my schedule perfectly, and without Breath of the Wild, I just don't think any other game would have been able to do it. I don't think any other game matches the exploration that Breath of the Wild has, or the straight ambience that Breath of the Wild has. This game is just so unique in so many ways, and I don't know if any other game is going to be able to really replicate that same feeling that I had when I can just pick this up so carefree and not feel any pressure to beat the game at any time. Everything just kind of very much felt on my schedule and on my time. And for that, I hold this game in such a warm spot in my heart, because it meant so much to me in that time to be able to just revisit my hobby again. So I guess I just kind of want to take some time to thank the developers at Nintendo, Team Zelda, Mr. Aonuma, for keeping me gaming, man. Like, keeping me gaming on my lunch breaks when I was at work, keeping me gaming when I was busy running errands, or if I found some time when my son was asleep. Just whenever I do replay this game, because I still revisit this game to this day, just because it gives me this like satisfying feeling of being able to walk around and kind of just live in Hyrule for a little bit. It's definitely a great escape, and I'm just always, I don't know, I'm always just gonna hold this game to such high regards. And if I was to make like a list of the most important games, The Legend of Zelda The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will definitely be among like top 3 of most important games I've ever played. Yeah, those are my final thoughts. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end. It really means a lot to me. And now I'm just really excited to play Tears of the Kingdom, explore more of a whole new world. And it probably won't be able to hold that same spot that Breath of the Wild has, but it's going to be a fun game, and hey, maybe we can just live up to it even a little bit.